There's a saying that I really like that is embarrassment is the cost of entry. And I think it's really relevant for most of the things that we're working on or trying to do in our lives. This channel could be an easy example of that. You have to start where you start. And sometimes that means looking foolish or like the beginner or the novice or not having it all together. But that is the price that you pay to become the master of something eventually. Now, everybody's mileage will vary of how quickly they master something, how much time they put in, their natural skill or talent. But if you're not willing to start where you are and you just want to show up for fully formed and perfect, then you're going to find it really hard to make inroads where you want to go. And I think this is relevant for so many things in our life and business, whether you're like running a marathon for the first time or trying to get your first $1,000 in sales. You have to kind of stumble through. And the problem is that there are a lot of people out there who sell us the solution, the shortcut, the blueprint or map or whatever to getting there faster. And those are really flawed for a couple of reasons. The first is it's usually this is what worked for me. And there's no context to that. I remember there was a coach one time who was like, well, this is how I built my business. This is the way you do it. And I was like, one, we have totally different niches, different business models, different service plans. And you live in New York City and you did this in the 90s. Like, do you think a few things have possibly changed since then? But if you're not willing to look at that nuance and make some discernment, then you kind of fall for the trap of, oh, that blueprint will work for me. Well, no, it worked for someone at some point in some place in time with their skills, with their connections, with their insights. That doesn't mean it's going to work for you. I even look back at like the ways that people became multimillionaires, billionaires back in the day. It's like, are you going to start a railroad? Are you going to like discover oil? Like what worked for the Rockefellers may not work for you. And I think because things are going faster and faster these days, you don't even have to look 100 years back. You can look 20 years back and be like, wow, in the early 2000s, you could just start a .com and you're going to make a lot of money. Not the deal today. So you have to be willing to try things and get it wrong, because what usually makes magic, especially in the business world, is when somebody is doing something new for the first time or they're putting their unique spin on it. You know, there's lots of people out there who are authors or speakers or have a particular type of business, but the magic is what they uniquely add to it, the way that they approach it, the team that they build. And those are just things you can't get out of a box by paying someone $9.99 or more. Most of those programs are a lot more. Now, I'm not saying I'm against coaching or against support, but you have to be really clear about what you're doing. So let's say that you are a dentist and you want to build your dental practice. There are coaches out there who work with dentists. They can not only help you like build the practice and all the back-end systems you need, but how to build your team, how to do your marketing, how to do your pricing and promotion. And that can be a really great benefit for you as you're building a dental practice. But if you're not willing to like go to dental school and learn how to be a dentist and be terrible at working on teeth the first year that you're learning, you're never going to get there. And so embarrassment is just the cost of entry. It's the process that we all have to go through on some level. And if you can never look back and be embarrassed by what you were in the beginning, that tells me you haven't grown. Or you waited way too long to launch until everything was perfect. And the problem is what we think is perfect in our mind isn't always perfect to our audience. I can't tell you how many times I had something that I just thought was going to be the most perfect promotion or webinar or article. And I was in my head so much that by the time it got out, it just didn't connect with people in the same way. Now, they say embarrassment is the cost of entry, but I think part of that embarrassment is risk, is saying, is this good? And not just good as a, good, bad dichotomy, but does this connect? Does this inspire? And does this have the goal? And does it achieve what I want it to achieve? You can write something that is objectively good and it doesn't reach your intended audience. Or it reaches them and it doesn't inspire them to take the action you want them to take. And that's the same whether you're talking about like a political thing or like the message you give to your family about where you think you should spend vacation, or promoting something to your boss that you think would be really helpful in the office and it just doesn't land. all the things that we want to do, the things we want to change, things we want to master or get better at, they require a bit of stumbling. And I think that's great because that's part of the process. And if you're not willing to go out there and do something that might be a bit embarrassing, you won't get as far as taking that risk.